My name is Ryan Hamilton. You're watching the Panda MX-5 channel, and today we're installing the custom front subframe in my 1994 Mazda Miata. Alright, so we got the subframe all set up on the jack and a couple of blocks down there. Now we're just going to start jacking it up, lining up all the bolts, getting everything started, and then we'll tighten it all up. Alright, so we got the subframe all jacked up into place. Top coilover bolts are in. So for now we're just going to get all the rest of the bolts started in, put a little dab of never sees on them, and then we'll be all good to go. Alright, now on to the other side. Alright, so I got the 4 bolts installed on the subframe, 2 here, 2 on the other side. Now there's just 2 more on the rear end of the subframe, including the little brace. And then just torque it all down and we'll be all set to go. Alright, so now we're just going to install the last 4 bolts on the subframe. There's 1 here, 1 up in here, and then 2 more in the exact same spot on the other side. And then after that, we'll install the brace, which goes from here to here, right across the subframe, just to reinforce everything. So I'm just going to go ahead, start these 4 bolts, and then start torquing them down. we'll get the two on the other side, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, now we're just going to go around, tighten everything up all the way, and then the subframe install is complete. Alright, so now we just have to install the subframe brace. Everything else is already tightened down, and then the install will be complete. Alright, so now we just have to install the subframe brace. Everything else is already tightened down, and then the install will be complete. Alright, so all the bolts are in, everything's torqued down. I'm just going to tighten up the coilovers on top real quick, and then everything is all finished up. Alright, so the subframe's all installed, everything's tightened down, torqued up, never seized on, so we're all set to go. Now just a little bit of overview of the parts I have on here. I have the stock power steering rack that I depowered, so I cleaned out all the lines, no more power steering lines. I took the pressure valve out of the inside of it, so it's a full manual rack. I re-greased everything on the inside. Also got polyurethane bushings for it, so it's a little bit stiffer in there, less flex. New boots and everything because my stock ones were totally gone. Probably didn't help my tie rods, so I have new inner and outer tie rods. Come over here. I got the Mazda Type R end links. Gives a little bit less bump steer for a lowered car. They say it helps a little bit, so I figured why not. And then I also have fine Miata blueprinted front hubs with a new wheel bearing and everything. Just make sure everything's freshened up, good to go. Also ARP extended wheel studs, just because I might be running a spacer down the line. I have new front upper control arms to replace the ball joint, so that's all freshened up, as well as the lower ball joint. It's also brand new. I'm running a CX Racing coilover right now. It's 32-way adjustable, separate preload and ride height adjustment right here with these collars. Up on top has 32 clicks of damping adjustments. I can make it super stiff or super soft, however I end up setting that up. And then I swapped out these springs. I have a Swift spring in here. This is a 10K spring in the front, and for the rears I also have a 9K. And then also on the control arms I have a full Prothane polyurethane bushing kit, front, rear, so all the control arms have those installed in there. And then other than that, we're all set to go. Alright, now that the subframe is all installed and bolted on, we're going to install the heavy-duty front sway bar I put in, along with the heavy-duty end links. Alright, so what we have here is a Racing Beat solid front sway bar for the 90 to 97 Miata, along with the included polyurethane bushings for that, and then the clamps for these as well go on like that. Just hold everything on secure. We have the Prothane super grease, just for greasing those up so they don't squeak or anything. And then this is the hardware for mounting these onto those heavy-duty sway bar brackets that we installed earlier. And then also I have a set of Racing Beat heavy-duty end links to connect the sway bar to the control arms of the suspension. So make sure everything's good to go. So I'm going to go ahead, start putting these together, and then get everything installed in the car. Now that those are together, we can go ahead, start lining everything up in the car, get these bushings greased up, get the bar mounted, and then start hooking up the end links. Alright, now that we got these all greased up, we'll go ahead and install them on the bar, and then get the bar mounted onto the car. Go ahead and get this mounted up into the car. So I got the bar all set up, everything's good to go, the bushings are all greased, and now we're just about ready to bolt it up into the car. So I already got our new hardware, already got a little bit of never sees on it, so I'm just going to hold the bar up and get those bolts started. Now we'll get the other side, just the exact same process. Alright, now we'll go ahead and hook those end links up and then tighten everything up and we'll be good to go. Alright, so I'm trying to put the end link on, and the issue I'm running into is on the sway bar. The bolts that hold the end link on don't fit in the hole. So I'm going to take them out, drill them out, maybe 1 or 2 sizes bigger, just so these fit through nicely, and then we'll be all set. Alright, so I'm using a 25/64 drill bit to drill out the racing bead sway bar a little bit. Just make it a tiny bit bigger. You can see this drill bit fits perfectly through the end link, but won't fit through there. So I'm going to drill that out, and then hopefully the bolt will fit right through. Go, all set. I'm gonna do the same to the other side and then get these end links installed. Alright, so I got the bar perfectly level right here. So now I'm gonna adjust the end link to be the perfect length. Just screw these ends out either way. And Racing Beat also recommends that you have at least 8 threads up inside of here, just so the strength of the tie rod or the end link is fully there. It's about spot on right there. Now I'm just gonna make sure I have more threads on that side than the other. Just trying to make it all even here, just so it works nice. Alright, right about there looks good. So now I'm going to get our hardware out, never sees it, put it all through, line up all the washers and everything, and we'll be set. Alright, so everything's all drilled out. That worked perfectly fine. I got the end link all adjusted. I just used the level on the sway bar. It's perfectly level right now, which is how we want it when there's no compression on the suspension. So I already got one with never see, so I'm going to put this one in instead. And then we're just going to put a washer and bolts on there. I'm also going to put one through the bottom of the end link and then just start it up. I'm going to go do the other side before I even tighten this down, just so everything is all lined up while it's loose, not torqued down. These are nylock nuts, so they're not going to be tight at all. I'm just going to never seize up one for the bottom right now. Bottom bracket is a little bit bent. I'm gonna have to loosen that up or move it around a little bit just so everything can line up better. lined up. I'm just going to throw a washer and a nut on both of them, go do the exact same thing on the other side. Alright, I'll be right back once we do the exact same thing on the other side, and then we'll tighten everything down. Alright, so the sway bar is all installed, the end links are all done up, everything's good to go. Just went ahead, I had to drill out this side as well, I had already done that. So I got both of them in, everything's tightened down. And the Racing Beat says do not torque them fully to spec right now, so I did, and I just barely put them on to where they're just barely tightening it up. And then after you set it on the ground and settle the suspension, you tighten everything up and torque it all down correctly to the specs that they say and everything like that. So both sides of that are done, everything's all good to go. And then, so thanks so much for watching, guys. Everything's all set right now. And then in our next video, we're going to be working on the rear subframe, getting that all started, put together. I'm still waiting on a differential, that kind of stuff, but we can start putting the control arms and the suspension into that.